everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to look at the Neca Battle Damage Deluxe Robocop with chair. This is a really cool deluxe set for Robocop. It has the unmasked Peter Weller likeness, Battle Damage Robocop, and that chair that he sat in the police department. Let's go and take a look at the packaging. As you can see, Robocop, got the Omni Consumer Products OCP logo, Omni Consumer Products for the future of law enforcement. Little warning, here's the package, the chair, and it looks amazing. It has all this sort of equipment, monitors on the side, unmasked Peter Weller head, and the damaged Robocop. So at least it's a little bit different from the recent Ultimate Robocop release. I also see an alternate hand and gun. One side of the package, OCP logo. Other side, same thing. The bottom, Neca, etc. Barcode in case it helps anybody. And the back side, here's Robocop damaged. Seeing the chair with the helmet off. Here he is, helmet on. Ton of different display variations. OCP. So with no further ado, let's open it up. Alright, now that we got this figure out of the package, here he is with all his accessories laid out. He does come with two different heads, one with the unmasked Peter Weller likeness, and one with Robocop's helmet. He has an alternate hand, this one has the spike that allowed him to data interact with the computer, and he also has his pistol. But the main draw to the set is this chair. This is a chair he'll sit in, and they can monitor his vitals as well as his robotic parts. Chair is fantastic, it has articulation, plenty of detail, and I could see myself using this for a bunch of things besides simply Robocop. In addition to that, this figure is battle damaged, making him different from the recent Ultimate version that Neca released. That one is clean. Although, to tell you the truth, I think the clean version makes more sense with this chair. I don't think he actually sat in the chair in the movie at all while he was battle damaged. As I recall, he kind of freaked out in the chair, then left, then became battle damaged, leading to the end fight in the movie. Never actually sat in the chair that way. Drop me a line in the comments if I'm wrong. It's been a while since I watched this movie, and the movie is fantastic. It's aged well, and I really want to watch it again. So let's take a look at the figure. Let's start with his head here. The likeness is good. He's got all this sculpting detail on his face. He's got the bullet hole where he was shot in the head. The likeness for Peter Weller, it's good. Something's a little off. Just something about the eyes, the brow above it, just looks a little bit, I don't know, wrong. This unmasked head is better than the one that came with my single Robocop figure. He had some shit in his chin. I'm happy this one doesn't. Going further down, you can see the battle damage, big bullet hole, all this sort of burnt stains all over him. Detail is excellent, top notch. It's not just painted on, there's sculpting damage all over him. And for that, thank you, Neca. Damage on his arm. He's got damage on both of his legs. It all looks very nice. In addition to that, he's got a little bit of sort of a pink or purple tint to his suit, which is accurate to the film, but very subtle. Now, some complaints about this guy. Being an Ultimate figure, it's based off this body that's, I don't know, almost 10 years old. Articulation's very clunky, very limited. And Robocop doesn't need to be super articulated, as he moved in a very unique style in the film, but they really could have done some upgrades on his elbows and shoulders. Beyond that, it's a very nice looking figure. I like the battle damage. I like having a lot of variety to my different Robocop figures. And just a closer look at his face and head sculpt. I definitely see Peter Weller in there, but something's just a little off, and I really think it's that brow above his eyes. Now, when they made the Robocop figure before, they legally didn't have the likeness rights for Peter Weller, so they couldn't do an unmasked Robocop. But something has changed. They obtained it, and now they're revisiting the Robocop line. It looks good. I like the little wires on the side of the head. His skin is sort of stretched onto this robot body. And then, here's a figure broken down as far as he can go, with all of his removable parts detached. Now I notice this guy doesn't have the spring-loaded holster on the side, which is kind of disappointing. As pricey as this figure set is, they should have given you all the bells and whistles, and it's not like they'd have to make a new sculpt. That thing has already been done numerous times. Now let's take a look at his accessories. And let's start off with his heads. Now let's take a look at his heads. He has two of them. One with the battle-damaged Robocop helmet, and one with the unmasked Peter Weller likeness. Here he is, with his first unmasked head. And here he is, with his second helmeted head. This one also has the battle damage. Looks very nice on there. This is probably the head I'm going to use with this Robocop figure. Then the Ultimate one that I got will probably have my unmasked head, and the original Robocop figure will be a clean version with the helmet on. Give me three totally different Robocop figures. Now let's look at his hands. He has two right hands. One's a grippy hand with a trigger finger for his gun, and one has that spike to interact with the computer. Here he is, with his first hand for the gun. And here's his second hand. This one has the spike coming out. Now let's look at his pistol. I believe it's called an Auto 9. Sort of a semi-automatic pistol that shoots little bursts. Barrel's very large. Robocop's signature weapon. Here's Robocop holding that pistol. Now let's look at his chair. The main draw to buy this action figure set. The chair is big, well detailed, and articulated. Let's start at the top here. We've got these monitors, sort of keeping an eye on some of his robotic systems. It can rotate around in both points. Very nicely done. It's got these wires coming off the side. Nice detail on the back of the monitors. Ton of detail and wires all over this thing. This wire here goes into this thing that's going to drill into the back of his head. Doesn't actually do that with the figure though. We've got these knobs on the side. Then another monitor. This one shows Robocop. It also can rotate at the top as well as the entire thing. Then we have the chair, a couple of armrests. The chair itself can rotate around. Really do appreciate the articulation. Like I said, it's got a little spike for the back of his head. Detailing is very nice. I remember stuff like this from the film. And then the base here, it's got some wheels on it. They actually function. Pretty cool. It's a very nice piece. Feels pretty sturdy, but I wouldn't test it. I imagine you could break some of these things off if you're not careful. Very nice display piece for Robo. In addition to that, it looks like the headrest goes up and down as well. Here's Robocop sitting on that chair. Fits perfect, even with the odd leg articulation. Now they're taking a pretty good look at both the figure and his accessories. Now let's check out his height. From bottom to the top of his head, standing right at 7 inches tall, which can translate to about 18 centimeters. Now let's check out his articulation. And honestly, it's quite dated. Starting at this head here, core is going to rotate from side to side, up and down about that much. Nice little ball joint, pretty good range of motion there. Shoulders on a ball joint only goes out about that far. Up, down, around, pretty limited. His elbows, then get fully extended, and then come in a little bit less than 90 degrees. Then he has, I guess, a wrist cut right here, rotate. He's got a ball joint in his torso, but you really don't get anything out of that. It barely budges at all. I don't even know why they would include articulation there if you get nothing from it. Traditional waist swivel below that. His legs, they only go out about this far. Forward, all the way. Back, pretty much all the way as well. He's got single jointed knees, about 90-degree bend. Then his ankle here, and notice it has the hydraulic sort of little piston back there. Goes back, forward, forward. Careful with this. My original Robocop, that thing broke years ago. And you know what? That's about it. Now, Robocop moves in a very certain style in the film. Limited articulation kind of makes sense, but this is way more limited than he was in the film. And it's about a 10-year-old body they're reusing. Pretty disappointing. This guy really could use some upgrades, particularly in the shoulders and the elbows. Here's Robocop sitting on his chair in the GCPD headquarters. Here's Robocop walking down the streets of old Detroit, holding that large rifle. Here's Robocop with a couple of ED-209 robots. Robocop is the future of law enforcement. Ed-209 is the failed future of law enforcement. He turns around, pointing his rifle at the first Ed-209. He fires, destroying the top half, leaving only the legs walking around. He now points his rifle toward the second robot, and we all know how that's going to end. Now let's check him out, next to some other action figures. Starting off with some of the Robocop figures. Here's the battle damage Robocop that came with the chair on the left, next to Neca's Ultimate version on the right. These both came out very recently. I plan to display my battle damage one like this with the helmet on, and this other Ultimate one with the mask off. They both have that sort of purple or pink tint to them. This Ultimate guy on the right, he has a spring-loaded holster, which the battle damage one does not have. And here he is, next to Neca's original version of Robocop. I got this guy way back in the day, and I always thought the figure was really cool. Sculpt was excellent, articulation quite limited. And here are all of my Neca Robocop figures. They've made a bunch of other versions back in the day. Spring-loaded one, Robocop 2 version, maybe even a Robocop 3 version. I didn't really feel like I needed all those, but I'm pretty happy to have all three of these. We have the standard version, totally clean on the left, then battle damage version in the middle, and then the clean version with the unmasked head. This is how I would display each and every one of these guys. Now don't get me wrong, the battle damage one with the unmasked head is perfect for the final scene of Robocop, but this is the way that I like seeing these three figures. Then, here's Robocop next to ED 209. Ed 209 was supposed to be the future of law enforcement, but boy was that a disaster. This battle damage Robocop is awesome next to Ed 209, as Ed is one who caused most of that damage. And of course, I did get two of these Ed 209 figures. They had a bunch more than two in the film. Here's my entire Neca Robocop collection. Now there's a bunch of other cool stuff. Robo from 2 and 3, some of the Robocop versus Terminator stuff, and it's all cool, but personally, what I would really like to see is his partner Ann Lewis. And I would love to get Alex Murphy in his police attire. Now the likeness is there, maybe, please Neca. I realize they wouldn't sell nearly as good as Robo, but God, those are the things I want for this line the most. Now Robocop is a cyborg. The official definition of a cyborg is a human enhanced with robot parts. Robocop was the core human being, even though probably 85% of him is robot at this point. Here's Robocop next to a bunch of DC Cyborg figures, the epitome of what a cyborg is. Here's Robocop next to some McFarlane Cyberpunk 2077 figures. Most of the characters in Cyberpunk are humans enhanced with robot parts. Here he is, next to a Neca 1994 Aliens vs. Predator arcade game Dutch. This Dutch has a giant robot arm, so obviously he's some sort of cyborg as well. And here he is, next to a Hasbro Marvel Legends Cable. Cable's a human, actually a human and a mutant and a cyborg all in one. Now if I had a Darth Vader figure, he's also technically a cyborg. Here's Robocop next to some Neca T800 figures. T800, or the Terminator, is often misconstrued as a cyborg. The T800 is a robot with human flesh on the outside. A cyborg is technically a human enhanced with robot parts. Close, but no cigar. And here he is, next to a DC Direct Hard Act Batman. This guy's also not a cyborg, but a robot with human flesh on the outside. Now let's check him out, next to some action figures from different various companies, to see how he fits in, both scale and style-wise, in case you want to know which lines you can mix him with. Since he's a Neca figure, they're typically the 7-inch scale. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the large action figure lines I collect, and work way smaller. But first, let's check him out with some of his Neca brothers. In front of you are 5 different action figure lines, all from Neca Toys, all 7-inch scale. Then, with some more Neca toys. And now, next to some Jakks-specific wrestling figures. And here he is, next to some DST or Diamond Select toys. Then, next to some McFarlane toys. And here he is, next to some DC Direct and DC Collectibles figures. Then, with some Mattel wrestling figures. And now, with some Jazzwares AEW wrestlers. And here he is, next to some Mezco 112 collected figures. Then, next to some Mattel DC Universe Classics and Multiverse figures. And here he is, with some Makefix figures. Then, with some Hasbro Marvel Legends. And here he is, next to some SH Figure Arts action figures. And finally, next to some Jazzwares Fortnite figures. So overall, this is a pretty nice Robocop figure. The battle damage looks fantastic. I love the fact that it's not just painted on there. There's a lot of unique sculpt going on there. His accessories, frankly, they're awesome. The chair is really cool. He's got the pistol. The unmasked head is also very nice. Now, for the price, he should have come with more. Should have had all the bells and whistles. He should have had the cannon that came with the Ultimate version. Should have had the spring-loaded holster. Sculpt and paint job, excellent. No issues there. The unmasked head looks even better on this guy than the Ultimate one I got. His articulation, frankly, it's disappointing. It's about 10 years out of date. Neca was pretty lazy not upgrading this guy. He really needed an articulation upgrade, just like I said before, particularly in the elbows and the shoulders. Hell, in the hips and the knees too. Robocop is very limited in the film, but the figure is far more limited, and that is a bold statement. Now, the value of this figure, that's pretty bad. I've seen some places locally selling this guy for up to $75. I was able to find him for $65, free shipping online. And if you think about it, I think I paid $32.99 for the Ultimate version at Target. Is that chair worth another $30? Hell no. It's pretty nice though. Now if I were to rate this guy, not taking value into consideration, probably give him a 7.5 out of 10. But if you take the price into consideration, he should have come with more stuff. Should have been a little bit of a better figure. I'm going to drop him down to a 6.5, but just because I really like him, we'll level it out at a 7 out of 10. That'll be my final rating on this guy. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add it to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I will talk to you guys real soon.